the UN Environment Secretariat so they can be visible to all and used in the drafting process. I invite you in today's session to give your comments that will then be compiled in a summary prepared by the Secretariat, which will be transmitted to the President of the UN Environment Assembly in the form of a summary to be included in the report of the Second Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities of Asia Pacific. Your inputs will be helpful in developing the next version of the outcome document, which will be released on the 13th of September. I trust in this regard that all of you have had the opportunity to review the zero draft of the ministerial outcome document, which was sent out well in advance of this meeting. Finally, let me reassure you that informal consultations will take place on 4th and 31st October in Nairobi and will guide the drafting process with the release of a preliminary draft, which is to be done on September 13th, and a final draft on October 20th. It is our aim to adopt the document during UNEA 3. The floor is open.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Raza Bashir Tar. And the first intervention that I have is from Singapore. Singapore, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, we'll intervene later on. Thank you.
So the floor is open for any. I think we can start with the civil society. It's the social community enterprise. Maldives? Okay. So, Maldives, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank the Secretariat for the presentations in the morning, as well as the representative from the Committee of Permanent Representatives for the presentation just now. Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, I would also like to touch on the agenda items that was discussed earlier in the morning. Mr. Chair, UN Environment has been instrumental in addressing environmental challenges, issues at the global level, and has assisted my country as well as many others to tackle these at the national level. This year's theme for the UNEA is indeed highly pertinent issue. In terms of air pollution in our capital in the Maldives, PM 2.5 is estimated to be about 10% more than the safe levels recommended by WHO. An estimated 48 people die from air pollution-related illnesses every year in the Maldives, and this is a significant number given our small population. Air pollution has indeed become a pronounced issue in the world today. As such, we echo what the distinguished representative from Republic of Korea expressed earlier in the morning in terms of UN Environment being more proactive in tackling the issue of air pollution. Mr. Chair, we are also happy to report that Maldives is in the progress of ratifying the Minamata Convention. In this regard, we are working with UN Environment in conducting an initial assessment that will feed into the national ratification process. We are also taking further steps in reducing ocean plastics and microplastics. Maldives has in fact made a voluntary commitment at the Oceans Conference held last June to this very regard. We are now in the process of institutionalizing policies at the national level to address this issue. Lastly, I would like to note our support for the proposed resolutions at UNEA 3, particularly on pollution and the environment and health nexus, as well as the ministerial outcome document proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Maldives. Do we have any other state parties wish to take the floor? If not, then I would like to invite the intervention from Social Community Enterprise, from Dompet, Duwata in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We are Social Community Enterprise constituent of the Asian Pacific Region CSO Management Mechanism of RCEM, met the Asian Pacific Minister Summit on Environment and individually as a social community enterprise at Dompet Duwata, Indonesia. It is the following statement. We are very pleased Ministerial Declaration more responsive to key challenges to support green growth and inclusive development in Asia Pacific. Social community enterprise engage the poor and marginalized worker, client, supplier, and enterprise owner as partner in enterprise and value chain management. Mr. Chair, we urge to develop sustainable livelihood correlation with the United Nations Secretary General System report in this regarding needed concrete resolution on sustainable practice on sustainable livelihood in parts 18 and E and F as a framework in building ethical market, strong social economic resilience, support to environment integration. In order to become significant transformational partner of civil society, government, and business institutions, empowering the poor and small producer as stakeholder and equitable. We recommended for the review of progress to be aligned with SDGs, especially goal number 1, 9, 13, and 14, and 15, especially relevant to target and social enterprise impacts indicators. On this agenda, I would like to emphasize and ask the government continually push promotion of renewable energy and sustainable waste management system, developing new products and services that serve to rehabilitate the environment, encourage protection of diversity-friendly and contribute to the conservation, protection, and rehabilitation of environment. It needs specific policy to protect the environment and natural resources that, in fact, to human being and welfare, social community, and enterprise. The last, we ask the government urge to promote better livelihood system that adhere to sustainable protection and consumption pattern. It's promote the development of value chains, links to the promotion of sustainable agriculture, fisheries, forestry, and creative economic of small enterprises. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do we have any other interventions with regard to item 8C? I see none. Going. We can end the session in case there are, Indonesia, would you like to have, Indonesia, you have the floor.
Thank you, and thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving me another floor, and thank you for briefing us on the stage of the development of the draft declaration of UNEA 3. As I mentioned before in my intervention under agenda item 7 and the previous agenda item of 8A and B, that UNEA is the pertinent forum to address the global environmental affairs. So as part of our preparation for the successful and fruitful session 3 of the UNEA, allow me to share the following views. As we already mentioned that tackling the environmental issue cannot be separate from number of important factors. So I would like to, and my delegation would like to have the declaration to also recognize other issues such as the commitment, multi-layer partnership, collaboration at all levels within regions and among regions, good governance, and robust approach, not only technology, but as well as the economic and financing instrument. And Indonesia is very willing to share its experiences in developing the economic instrument in managing the environment. And we also would like to underline that we need to continue to recognize the importance of traditional knowledge and participations of multi-stakeholders in ensuring that we may able to implement the agenda towards a pollution-free planet. And as we also know that there are other platform and agenda at the global as well as the regional levels in addressing this a similar issue. So, therefore, my delegation would like to have the UNEA to be a platform to synergize and harmonize, as well as to strong collaborations among the current and the future initiative on this agenda. And it is also necessary to recognize the national circumstances and priorities. We all know that dealing with environment, it's very time specific, geographical specific, and social condition specific. So capacities, capabilities, and the level of development in implementation the agenda towards the pollution-free planet is very essential. Therefore, the UN environment it's strongly encouraged to play a very important role in having stronger collaborations among countries, among regions, and among UN agencies as well. And lastly, we will continue to engage the process of the development of the outcome documents, including through our CPR in Nairobi. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you much. China, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, delegations. With regard to the current agenda item, 0 draft of the declaration for Union 3, when I look at it, I would like to share some of my views with our delegates. The current format is a little bit different to what we have seen in many similar declarations. In that point, that the first paragraph, this is the beginning of the statement. From the text, we understand this is in the text. It picked up several individual cases that we are facing in different regions. Whether this is a good format or not, this is something I'm not sure. Normally, when we look at those statements, the first paragraph reviews what we have done, the progress we have made, and then we can point out that we are still facing a lot of challenges, then followed by we are going to take actions to tackle those challenges. However, by reading this text, it gives us some negative message. So I would like the drafting team to reconsider whether this is a good format or not. This is one view. Second view is that in the multilateral forum for environment and development, there are several important principles which will always be there. But at this time, I don't find them. I would like to also ask the draft team to consider it again, to put it in the text. I would like to mention 2 important considerations or concerns from the developing countries. Asia Pacific is the members here. Most of our members are developing countries. So the first principle is common but differentiated responsibilities should be there. Second one is the financial assistance or financial aid or financial support, something like that. And the technology transfer, technology aspects also must be there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, China. We have got 3 interventions from the NGOs. I think it's women first, then the NGOs. I think we have got 3. So beginning from the right, we'll take, I think, is it the women first? The UN women?
Yes.
Please.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Women's Constituency at the Asia-Pacific Regional Civil Society Engagement Mechanism. We appreciate the space given to CSOs and the chance to provide a regional perspective for UNEA 3 and support the transparency of the process. In Asia-Pacific, interlinked systemic barriers are blocking the achievement of just and sustainable development and the creation of a pollution-free environment. We are particularly concerned about the effects of patriarchy, fundamentalism, and authoritarian governance, which are currently undergoing a resurgence in this region. We wish to commend UNE for its comprehensive and timely report for a pollution-free planet. Pollution has already caused an unprecedented number of deaths in our region and has harmful effects on pregnancy outcomes, fertility, fetal health, amongst others. However, we feel the report lacks a deeper analysis of the feminization of pollution and how it impacts various marginalized groups. Women and men's health is affected differently by pollution. Women commonly face higher risks and greater burdens, with the majority of the region's poor being women. Their unequal participation in decision-making processes and labor markets compound inequalities and often prevent women from fully contributing to the policy making, and implementation. Other marginalized groups, such as people living with HIV, LGBTIQ, Sex workers, people who use drugs, and migrants are particularly vulnerable due to intersecting forms of discrimination. Honorable delegates, the planet cannot be pollution-free if half of women and girls remain undernourished, face routine violence and discrimination, lack power to take decisions at multiple levels, and lack equal opportunities for employment and political representation. Achieving gender equality and fulfilling the human rights of women and girls is a crucial step to sustainable development and sustainable resource use. This includes ensuring that women and girls are empowered and able to make fully informed choices and decisions about their sexual and reproductive health and rights. In this vein, we encourage stronger linkages with the International Conference on Population and Development Programme for Action and related processes. To close, we underscore the call for a development justice framework to tackle the rising and pervasive inequalities in the region and to support the existence of powerful, resourced, connected women's rights movements and other social movements. Thank you.
Thank you. There's an intervention from the NGOs. Please identify yourself also because we cannot read your sign from here.
Thank you, Chair. I am Pratibha Kelub from Development Alternatives and will be giving the collective statement on behalf of the CSOs. We welcome the continuous efforts to address specific issues that are significant to the Asia-Pacific region into the resolutions adopted by the United Nations Environment Assembly. In terms of process, we have very high expectations that UNEA and associate regional processes will provide meaningful opportunities for CSOs to substantively engage with the governments, such as through representation in these panels or in official programs. This being said, greater care needs to be taken in ensuring that the progress of the resolutions are aligned with the efforts already made by countries to transition towards more sustainable economies. A case in point is the resolution made in UNEA 2, which states its commitment to contributing to the effective implementation of the environmental dimension of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in an integrated manner. This, however, is restricted to only supporting the 2030 Agenda through providing overarching policy guidance and fostering of partnerships for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The identification of appropriate indicators and the means for measuring progress of sustainable development was a rigorous task undertaken by the Independent Experts Advisory Group for development of global indicators and targets. Countries are exerting efforts to align the global SDG indicators to indicators that can be measured at the national level, as well as identification in gaps in data that need to be filled by collection of new data sets, as well as innovative methodologies for credible data collection. To optimize these efforts and resources, we call for alignment of the review of implementation of the UNEA and MECD resolutions with the tools, indicators, and review framework already adopted under the SDGs. For example, the implementation of UNEA 2 resolution on prevention, reduction, and reuse of food waste should be reviewed using the relevant indicator existing under SDG 12.3, which can be measured through the Global Food Loss Index. This would make it easier for countries to assess certain data gaps and review and report on their progress. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Development Alternatives. I think the Vice Chair of the Committee of Permanent Representatives of UN Environment, His Excellency Raza Bashir Tar, would like to respond to this. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, if you allow me, I can also say a word or two about the other interventions that we have heard. Now, China has made a very fair point, and certainly as an individual delegation, our sense was the same, that CBDR and financial and assistance and technology transfer should not be excluded. What I would respectfully urge is for you to, obviously you don't have to come up with something immediately, but whatever drafting suggestion you have, kindly convey it officially to the Secretariat so that they can then transfer it in a collective form to Nairobi. That will really facilitate our task. You have a very active delegation here, so I don't think there should be any problem. But thank you very much for making this point. Regarding the point made by Indonesia, certainly, I mean, this is a point very well taken. But if you permit me to say so, Madam, I think a clear drafting suggestion would be very helpful. So I'm sure your input would find its way into the document. That will really make life easier. Then the point just made by the development alternatives on behalf of the civil society organizations. Madam, this is certainly an extremely pertinent a point, or points rather, that you have made. And a word of caution, I mean, the declaration is more kind of aspirational, and I do certainly take my hat off to you for your in-depth, analysis down to the nitty-gritty of the pertinent goals. So certainly your input would be extremely useful. Now, what I would like to urge you is that, and this is something that one observed in UNEA 2 also. So in order not to have like a rerun of that, what happens is that this time UNEA 3 is like, first of all, it is being held as an extraordinary event, essentially to sort of correct the cycle of these meetings. And hence, not too many resolutions have emerged because people have a certain sense of resignation that maybe the event is coming, too quickly. And that is why the idea that we should restrict ourselves to pollution. Now, if the civil society, I don't want to patronize the civil society. You are a very, important pillar of the whole thing. But the idea is that it's essentially an intergovernmental process. And if you choose to save it for the last, when you actually come to Nairobi, then there might not be enough time. So what I would urge is that whatever you can give a paper or you can give drafting suggestions or whatever, and please forward it well ahead of time so that, and people can then, decide whether it can be done or not. We have extremely, talented luminaries like the director here, who can then educate us whether it is doable, not doable, whether it is to be done by UNDP or some other agency or whatever. Alignment, yes, is a very critical issue, and alignment is an Achilles heel of frankly, the whole UN system. And, but certainly, suggestions would be welcome. And in that, I would also urge you to share with us success stories, of things that have actually been done, so that it does not remain just prescriptive and can go into the, the realm of the practical. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Excellency Raza Bashir Tar Saab. Do we take them first, or we actually? We've had two flags up almost since the morning. So we'll take the one in the middle here first, and then we go to farmers, followed by Republic of Korea then. Introduce yourself as we... Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Myself is Daksha Waja, representing on behalf of the Science and Technology Community of RCM. We raise our concerns for the review of implementation at UNEA 2, and this is for Agenda 7. What we want to highlight is in terms of technology, despite some countries in the region being global technology leaders, on the Global Innovation Index, more than a quarter of the countries ranking in the lowest 10% are from Asia Pacific. Many of the countries suffer from severe capacity gaps and will require substantial investment in institutional capacity, as well as capacity for data collection and monitoring and development of indigenous and endogenous technologies. Partnerships with technology developers and innovators in the private sector, including social enterprises, in a manner that clearly defines their roles and responsibilities in addressing pollution to serve people's interests and protect the planet, rather than placing undue faith on their capacity to mobilize resources. In accordance with the precautionary principle of Agenda 21, we urge member states and the UN to conduct studies looking at the potential opportunities and consequences on the environment, livelihoods, and inequality of new and emerging technologies that may be relevant to resource efficiencies and addressing pollution, sustainable consumption, food waste, marine pollution, and microplastics that are covered in UNIA 2 resolutions, such as blockchain technologies, synthetic biology, gene editing, robotics, and others that drive the so-called fourth industrial revolution. Concerns that while the potential and consequences of this technology may be disruptive and transformative, they will increase energy use and could have impacts on the achievements of other SDGs and the 230 agenda in general. A comprehensive and anticipatory research on these issues and concerns on new and emerging technologies merit serious attention, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The farmers, I think it's Roots for Equity. We'll take you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me assure my colleague from Pakistan, Mr. Tara, that the civil society will give you enough input and thoughts on the UNIA 3 process. My input is on the Agenda 8. I am Wali Haider from Roots for Equity, Pakistan, on behalf of Farmers Constituency on Asia-Pacific CSO Engagement Mechanism, which is APRSEM. While we approach the space for intervention given to, while we appreciate the space for interventions given to CSOs, we also want to mention here that we feel excluded to see no civil society being included in any of today's agenda and days to come. We believe that genuine inclusive participation of CSO is necessary for the spirit of partnership and Agenda 2030 puts so much emphasis on. We believe our input would be critical to the discussion in these meetings. We emphasize that we need to look at pollution in a broader sense, which also includes genetic pollution and pollution from the use of pesticides and fertilizers. The new liberal era has brought this planet beyond the threshold of ecological limits due to the development model based on over-dependence on fossil fuels, extraction of mineral resources and concentration of wealth, power in fewer people and TNCs. The commodification of natural resources, particularly seeds, by the agrochemical and GM corporations, through dispossession of local communities' right to access and control over their local and indigenous seeds. New emerging phenomena of the land grabbing by investor is also causing issues for environmental crisis and livelihood issues. The land is often used for the expansion of export crops and are dependent on chemical input as well as the production of agrofuels, which creates unhealthy competition with food production and severely restrict poor people's access to land and food. We would like to suggest government ensure strong policies for an implementation of agroecology as well as support for small and landless farmers movement that are advancing the framework of food sovereignty. These farmers and small food producers are contributing to safe and nutritious food, to healthy soil, water, air and environment, as well as contributing to adoption of climate change. We demand for development justice so that the inequities, particularly for small producers, can be removed from our society. For this, we need redistributive justice, ecological justice, and accountability to the people. If we really want pollution-free world, we must get rid of structural barriers and we must hear the voices for the marginalized communities, which include small and landless farmers, fisherfolk, indigenous communities, among others. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, farmers. Now we'll have Republic of Korea first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My apologies for taking the floor this late. For your information, my English is my fourth language, by the way. And, my delegation shares the similar view as the distinguished delegate from China pointed out. The format of the declaration looks pretty unusual and creative and unique. I suggest that the declaration should start from paragraph 2 of the zero draft. I'm not quite sure about the first paragraph, but I suggest to add the text noting that at the beginning. Nevertheless, I believe that the zero draft is a good starting point for the discussion in Nairobi. Certainly my delegation will provide an input to the draft. Thank you.
Thank you, Republic of Korea. Next, we have got Japan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regard to the UNIA 3 declaration, in terms of the format, Japan thinks that the chair's summary is more desirable than a negotiated outcome document such as a declaration in order to have realistic, concise, well-focused, and action-oriented output. We have to learn a lesson from UNIA 2, where we could not reach an agreement on high-level document among member countries, and also the UNIA 3 session is only 3 days. In addition, we believe that the contents of the document needs to be reviewed, especially in paragraph 1, paragraph 3, and paragraph 5, since it seems that these paragraphs contain some unevidenced figures. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Japan, for your powerful interventions. It's so powerful that the Vice Chair would like to respond immediately.
Thank you very much. I mean, without prejudice to what Japan has said, this was initially like, I wouldn't say point of contention, but we had, various inputs. And initially, some delegations were of the view that to have a chair summary would be good. But then the rationale, and this is what I would respectfully submit to this August gathering, the rationale basically is that since it's supposed to be an aspirational document, it is important to at least, spell out the principles and the aspirations. And then also let me share with you, at the risk of offending the president of UNEA, he is a progressive man, and he said that I want a document which even my grandmother and my grandchild can understand. I'm kind of paraphrasing him, but the idea is that it should not be too bureaucratic and kind of opaque, and the man on the street should be able to understand it. So that is the rationale basically. It does not give any cut and dry targets. It has no ODA implication, because that is usually the concern. It is not asking people to, produce certain unspecified sums for some vague goals. But it's an aspirational document. So if we just go by the chair's summary, then frankly, UNEA 3 may appear rather disappointing at the end of the day. So this is the thought I want to leave with you, obviously without prejudice to your eventual position on this. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, yeah, we will take Iran first, but although English is my second language, but my friend here has used aspirational so many times that I don't know whether aspirational means unrealizable or not. Now, my next intervention is from Iran.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Also on the same line as my distinguished colleague from Japan was indicating, I do thoroughly appreciate what my dearest brother, Ambassador Reza Bashir, is highlighting. I'm just going to take him back to UNIA 2, that he very much remembers the very same process we went through, and at the end we had to opt for the chair summary. And because we have to be appreciative of the fact that the atmosphere is a negotiating atmosphere. And we can, having got even a limited number of 5 to even maximum of 10 draft resolutions being negotiated over, but the delegations are all under the same kind of atmosphere when it comes to even talking about any aspirational outcome document, which would not really be binding to any form of extent, just it would be of recommending nature. Then the same kind of atmosphere as it did prolonged the sessions of UNIA 2. Ultimately, we had to settle for chair summary as opposed to any form of draft declaration that we graciously looking forward to. That would have to be very much highlighting the fact that people who'd be following or who'd be contributing to this draft declaration or whatever ultimately may be called, a communique or a statement or whatever, that it is appropriately and legally termed, we'd have to ensure that the extent of its coverage is, as you indicated, just giving direction. It's not going to be constituting any form of words and here and there negotiated over. Otherwise, within the very first 3 days, and the maximum of 3 days that we have available to ourselves, we are likely to face. I'm just giving a word of warning, whilst you very well remember that my delegation stands very much constructive and in support of such moves to converge the views so that we can move forward with a forward looking. And I stand very much in support of you, my dear brother Reza. Thank you.
Thank you, Iran. We now have a request from Singapore.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies for not being able to take the floor just now. But this is a good time for me to say that I hear the words, the views expressed by Japan, by Iran, the difference between a declaration and a joint statement. But Singapore's view is that a chair's statement or a chair's summary would not show the collective commitment of member states to achieve certain goals. So we prefer a declaration. And in that regards, I also hear from Ambassador Tara about aspirational. We think that it should be more than just aspirational. It should be concise, understandable, action-oriented and meaningful. It should also be something that can demonstrate the difference that UNIA or UN environment can make to people's everyday lives. And it should be appealing and attractive to the people at large. One more point I want to make is that, as I mentioned in my previous interventions, Singapore is of the view that in addition to addressing domestic sources of pollution, UNIA 3 should also, the declaration for UNIA 3 should also cover transboundary forms of pollution, especially with regards to the need for intergovernmental cooperation. And in this point, I'd like to underscore that multilateral forums like the UNIA can play a pertinent role in helping to draw focus, strengthen cooperation, and in turn address pollution in its transboundary form. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
His Excellency Ambassador Reza Tara would like to have a word, please.
I'm very sorry for, being overly aspirational. So I'll eschew the aspiration this time. I just want to, pose a general question. A bit of a sense that I've gathered from a couple of interventions and then also what Singapore has said. So it appears, and I don't presume to, have read the minds of all the delegates, but it appears that there is a preference for avoiding kind of, the vague elements in the sense that like paragraph 1, 3, and 5, I think have been pointed out. And then taking a cue from what Singapore has said, concise and action-oriented. Now, the thought that I want to leave with you is that would it be better if we, let's say, drop certain paragraphs, and then in the latter part, after paragraph 5, the bullet points that you see, if we can kind of, make them more concise rather than the obvious explanation. If you look at it right now, so for example, the first one says supporting the development, collation, and use of reliable scientific data. Technically, it can end with that because the latter part is not really adding much value. This way, at least the document will be more concise. It's just a thought. You can reflect more on that, but probably it can serve as a reference point in the subsequent negotiations. that rather than having, because technically right now in every second paragraph there are different possibilities. If it doesn't happen, then conduct research and whatever, and then it will beg the question who will do the research and then who will pay for it and so on and so forth. So maybe if we can just say that do this, and then obviously we have to keep in mind the different levels of development and all that. You cannot expect a country from the south to be, as tech savvy as certain countries in the Western Hemisphere, although we are all suffering from pollution, to varying degrees. Thank you very much.
If there are no other interventions, then although I would not like to hand over the chair before my time ends, but any interventions? We still have about 35 minutes to go before the scheduled agenda item 9. People want to take an early break, maybe? Would you like to invite the chair back?
Yes.
Invite the chair back so that we can move on to agenda item number 9.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for taking care of the agenda. You could have continued until the end, but thank you for distinguished delegates. We now come to agenda item 9. And that's discussion regarding institutional arrangement for the Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities of Asia Pacific. And I would like to direct your attention to the note on institutional arrangement for a Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities of Asia Pacific, and open the floor for comment. Does any delegate wish to speak on the statement? This is wait. The floor is open. Um,
Mr. Stella, Mr. Andy. You just check whether they need time or is everything okay?
I hope that everyone is aware of the document that we are referring to on agenda item 9, and that's UNEP/AB ENV Forum bracket 2/5. And if delegates wish to make a statement, the floor is open. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay, I think we'll just have to move on. And I ask that should you have any further comment or suggestion, observation, question, or anything relating to that document, please feel free to contact the two gentlemen on my right, Mr. Stedler Trenguo and Mr. Andy Rain. They are from the legal office of the UN Environment.
Thank you. That's it.
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Move on.
Yeah, so basically we are finished. That already agreed, and so we will resume at 4:15.
Okay.
And I understand ESCAP is providing you.
Okay, thank you. You would just reminded that in the morning we agreed to swap agenda item 11 with agenda item 10. And for agenda item 11, it's for the ESCAP group to present. And they are not here with us right now. They are still working on it and will be with us on or around 4:30.
4:15.
4:15. So until then,
And we come back around 4:45. So, and then 4:45. So we resume at 4:45.
so we will resume with our session at 4:45 when ESCAP people are prepared to present to us. And then we will take you through agenda item 10 from 4:45 onwards.
And I can also tell that the Secretariat is preparing the draft report of this meeting. It will be circulated to head of the delegation.
And while we're breaking, the Secretariat will be preparing the draft report for our meeting today, and we'll be tabling that in when we go through agenda item 10. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think we go for a break.
First you tell we are uploading. Second you said keep in the business card. This is the previous.
Can I ask you something? This has nothing to do with the Ministerial Summit. I have a publication that needs a nice cover. And I have a design in InDesign. Do you use InDesign? Excellent, because basically what we need to do is change the photo and change the text, but there's already the InDesign file. Can we talk about that next week? Thank you. That's all I need for now, but I will come and talk to you next week. Sure. Great.
need your help later. Because my mic may be stuck with the meeting, I need to edit this video. Can I use your content? Or, well, after all of this finishes. If I get back to the result, you will give it back to me. So everything is shut is down. Essentially, all I want to do is just cut and then put that logo and we're done. Oh, but I thought you were Premiere Pro's on. Oh, it's not on the. Could it be about it's not on the. It's not on the desktop. Then the other thing I can do is. I'll take it back to the office and then come back because the camera is on. You're not using it because my recording session is at 4:50. I thought we go back to the office. Come back. Without like micros. Did you mind Jam when you did that video the one building? You didn't like Jam because that area is quite different. Then I'll just tell Jan if you can pull them aside to something. But otherwise, I have a condenser one, it's not so but I think it's maybe better just with micros.
So let me check as a I'm not sure.
I have the same one.
So
It's like a different. That's the one that I have. Else we just shoot it.
I'm not sure because so that you have to get out of the day.
Yeah. He's like that. Okay, if you're free, the timing that I'm just setting right now
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, kindly be advised that we will resume here.
Nous allons reprendre à 4h15 sur le point 11 pour adopter le rapport du segment des hauts responsables. Et ce rapport est déjà disponible sur le site.
Because it came out.
we uploaded it after. So what do they need the Hi Jake, how can I help you? Congratulations in advance. Halfway done? Sorry, 80% done, but let's see how it goes. I did that very fast after surgery. No, please, just tell me, but you're disprinting here. Yeah. I saw Jake from the Philippines. So we said 3 for tomorrow. Both sides or? Let's wait. Yeah. Who left this plastic bottle? Well, I report them. Zane, tell me. Nothing important. They just really need the power especially the one on media reservations. Oh, okay. For UNIP things, you have choices. Sorry. The things of today, it's UNIP, and you have choices. Did you meet Kay from UNIP? Oh, for the Philippines. Okay, yeah. I think she's seated there, so you can ask her. Okay. Because, I'm sorry, I don't have any documents from the union. All right. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Two friends. Yeah. I'm wondering what we should do to have a document for the next 2 days. Oh, sorry, this was missing. I think it was give it to me.
I mean, I can't believe that I'm having stress for not having that.
Don't worry. Can I leave the wicket and there you go.
Conference room 2, no?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, kindly be advised that we will resume here at 4:15 to discuss Agenda Item 11, the adoption of the report of the senior officials of the 7th Ministerial Conference on Environment and Development in Asia and the Pacific.
On se retrouvera à 16h15. Vous avez le document que l'on s'apprêtera à adopter sur le site. Merci.
going to be here until what time today? So also after the adoption. Okay. Actually from this 5 to 6 I'll come into because I'm writing from 4:45 now. So I won't be able to edit it either way. So it makes no sense for me to take it from here. I'll drop the camera. I'll just take it from the when I have to edit it. Wherever you are. Really serious and official.
No, I'm dressing down.
Dressing down as the day progresses.
As the day progresses, I'm gonna end up in a tank top here.
No. We'll get it.
How are you?
I wanna go home.
That depends on the chair, of course. But we will meet when the session starts.
See the flag.
Thank you. I did it, yeah.
没有。Do you have scenario for tomorrow? Marine visa from the for that to kind of yes. Could you ask me to get ready? Thursday we have. Tomorrow we have in the afternoon, right? Thursday day. This is ESCAP. I'll pass it to
Thank you. What time are we, like 4:15? Because we moved the train.
Yes. Also we
The adoption of the yes. So like we're one hour. We're one moving it one hour. Yes.
Yes.
This is for yeah, I will email it.
Yes. We'll go there because they have free lunch. Well, if we don't go there, then we waste food. But we don't want. Good. Say no to food waste.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellences, chers délégués, mesdames et messieurs, veuillez prendre place, éteindre vos téléphones, car nous allons entamer nos travaux sous peu.
I hope so. Okay, see you later.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates.
Excellences, chers délégués, mesdames et messieurs, veuillez regagner vos places, éteindre vos téléphones, car nous allons commencer.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Bon après-midi, mesdames et messieurs. Nous abordons à présent le point 11 de l'ordre du jour, s'il s'agit de l'adoption du rapport des hauts responsables relatif à la 7e conférence ministérielle sur l'environnement et le développement en Asie et dans le Pacifique. Le document portant sur ce point, tel qu'indiqué dans l'agenda annoté, et projet de rapport des hauts responsables relatif à la 7e conférence ministérielle sur l'environnement et le développement en Asie et dans le Pacifique, sous référence E/ESCAP MCED parenthèse 7 parenthèse CRP 1. Ce document vous est soumis pour adoption. Il se compose de 3 sections. La section 1 porte sur les questions appelant des décisions de la conférence ou portées à son attention et introduit la recommandation d'adopter le projet de déclaration ministérielle comme décidé hier sous le point 4 de l'ordre du jour. La partie 2 est composée d'un compte-rendu des travaux reprenant les déclarations faites pendant la réunion et la troisième partie fournit des détails organisationnels concernant la séance elle-même. Si l'orthographe des mots ou autres coquilles s'est glissé et des noms s'est glissé malencontreusement dans le texte, veuillez le signaler au secrétariat. Maintenant, je m'adresse exclusivement aux responsables afin que ceux-ci nous fassent part de leurs commentaires au sujet de ce rapport.
Do we have any comments from senior officials?
Est-ce que les hauts responsables ont des commentaires à formuler au sujet de ce rapport? Je donne la parole au représentant de la Russie. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. J'aimerais attirer votre attention sur une série de dispositions contenues dans le projet de rapport. En premier lieu, j'aimerais attirer votre attention à la page 2, paragraphe 5, en ligne 4 et en particulier sur le fait que l'on aborde ici les catastrophes naturelles et liées au climat. Nous avons une question. Les catastrophes dues au changement climatique, s'agit-il là de catastrophes non naturelles? Il nous semble qu'il n'est pas tout à fait exact de présenter les choses de cette manière, de mettre en exergue certains aspects spécifiques de catastrophes naturelles nous semble inapproprié. Nous aimerions donc suggérer que l'on retire que dû au changement climatique, puisque le terme et le concept catastrophe naturelle intègrent le concept de catastrophe liée au changement climatique. Premier point. Deuxième point, j'ai une série d'autres points à défendre, mais j'aimerais entendre ce que vous avez à dire et la réaction d'autres collègues à ma proposition.
Distinguished delegates, do we have any other comments?
Chers délégués, d'autres intervenants désirent-ils intervenir?
As we see no other comments,
Je ne vois aucune demande de parole. Pouvons-nous redonner la parole à la Russie, donc, afin qu'il continue? Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Avant de poursuivre, peut-être serait-il bon de comprendre à fond la proposition faite par la délégation russe. Est-ce qu'elle a été adoptée ou pas? Oui, Russie, nous avons pris note. Désolé, Madame la Présidente. Je ne parle pas de la proposition faite par la délégation russe dont on devrait prendre note. Ce que nous avons proposé, c'était un amendement sous la forme d'une modification du libellé de ce paragraphe. Alors, bien entendu, tout État membre et tout fonctionnaire a tout à fait le droit de l'adopter ou de ne pas l'adopter. Mais nous aimerions que les choses soient claires. La proposition que nous venons de faire a-t-elle été adoptée ou non? Si elle a été adoptée, nous pouvons passer à l'étape suivante. Si elle n'est pas acceptée, nous devrions le savoir, adopter, pas adopter et pourquoi, dans les deux cas. Mais nous voulons que les choses soient claires, il faut que nous travaillions de manière systématique. Je remercie la Russie et j'avais donné la parole pour obtenir les commentaires venant d'autres délégués. Je vois que l'Iran avait levé la main pour s'exprimer. Donc, après avoir entendu les observations de tous ceux qui désirent intervenir, nous allons pouvoir prendre une décision. Je vous remercie. Je vous remercie. Là, les choses sont claires. Je donne la parole à l'Iran. Merci, Madame la Présidente. En l'absence des membres de la table ronde, j'ai cependant souvenir que ma compréhension de l'exposé, que je partage avec mon éminent collègue de la Fédération de Russie, que l'on peut effectivement éclaircir l'ambiguïté qui nous semble subsister ici. C'était la question visant à souligner le fait que les catastrophes liées au climat ont des sources anthropogènes, donc l'émission de gaz à effet de serre par rapport aux catastrophes naturelles. Donc j'apprécie la valeur de l'argument de notre collègue russe. Néanmoins, je crois comprendre que l'on essayait de catégoriser les inondations et les séismes comme étant naturels, mais quand il s'agit de catastrophes liées à des extrêmes climatiques tels que des tsunamis ou autres, ou les typhons, les ouragans qui se produisent régulièrement dans différentes parties du monde. Donc, voilà le type de différenciation qui me semble avoir été faite par les membres de la table ronde. Quoique j'ai le sentiment qu'il n'y a pas de référence directe sur le changement climatique en tant que tel, en tant qu'entité. Je vous remercie. Je remercie l'Iran. Y a-t-il l'objection émanant d'une autre délégation à l'observation faite par la Russie? Donc, la Russie propose un amendement au paragraphe 5, ligne 5, de retirer du texte que dû au changement climatique. Donc, catastrophe due au changement climatique. Donc, on parlerait catastrophe naturelle. Donc, aussi bien serait biffé et la phrase s'arrêterait à naturel. Y a-t-il une opposition ou une intervention par rapport à cette suggestion? Je vois que la Corée a demandé la parole. Vous avez la parole. Merci, Madame la Présidente. En premier lieu, je n'ai pas d'objection à la proposition d'amendement au texte. J'aimerais cependant ajouter deux mots. Donc, la quatrième ligne du paragraphe 5 parlerait de la résilience des communautés locales face aux catastrophes, y compris les événements climatiques extrêmes. C'est ce que j'aimerais ajouter à ce qui a été suggéré par notre éminent collègue d'Iran ou de Russie.
Okay.
Bien, donc nous avons 2 points. La Russie propose le retrait de l'expression due au changement climatique et nous n'avons pas d'objection à cela, donc cela sera éliminé. Et maintenant, la Corée nous demande d'ajouter après catastrophe naturelle, y compris les effets extrêmes, j'aimerais réintervenir et proposer après catastrophe naturelle et les phénomènes météorologiques extrêmes. Y a-t-il une opposition à cette proposition? Le Japon. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Notre délégation n'a pas d'objection spécifique à l'une quelconque des propositions faites, car cette partie est une description résumant la discussion pendant la conférence. Si nous commençons à rédiger la description de ce qui a été dit pendant la réunion, j'ai le sentiment que nous allons reprendre notre débat. Donc je crois que si la synthèse effectuée par le secrétariat devait être inexacte, je pense qu'il faudrait effectivement le corriger. Mais s'il s'agit de variations sur les avis exprimés, l'exercice dans lequel nous nous engageons actuellement me semble problématique. Je n'ai pas d'objection à ce qui vient d'être dit et proposé, mais j'aimerais lancer un appel à la prudence. Nous ne devrions pas nous lancer dans un exercice rédactionnel simplement pour présenter des points de vue individuels émis par un pays ou l'autre. Je vous remercie. Je remercie le Japon. Je suis d'accord avec votre commentaire et je pense que tous les délégués comprennent fort bien ce dont vous nous parlez. Tous ces points ont été discutés de manière approfondie. Nous devrions pouvoir les adopter. J'espère qu'il n'y aura pas tellement de changements. Donc, où en sommes-nous actuellement? Paragraphe 5, ligne 4, qui se dirait comme suit. La résilience des collectivités locales face aux catastrophes naturelles, y compris les événements météorologiques extrêmes. Y a-t-il quelque chose à ajouter à cette proposition? Si ce n'est pas le cas, je vais le relire. Donc, résilience des communautés locales aux catastrophes naturelles, y compris les phénomènes météorologiques extrêmes. Voilà, donc c'est adopté. Y a-t-il d'autres commentaires et maintenant d'autres délégués? Je vous remercie, la Russie. Merci, Madame la Présidente, en premier lieu. J'aimerais vous remercier pour votre explication et les précisions que vous apportez. Est-ce que nous abordons des commentaires visant l'ensemble du rapport? Oui, c'est le cas. Donc, si c'est le cas et avec votre permission, j'aimerais attirer l'attention de mes collègues à la page 3, paragraphe 9. lignes 4 et 5, où l'on peut lire à la ligne 5, la protection de l'environnement en appliquant les principes de l'économie verte. Nous proposons de reformuler cela, de reformuler cette phrase comme suit. La promotion de l'économie verte. Je vais le répéter pour que les choses soient claires. Donc, au lieu d'utiliser en appliquant les principes de l'économie verte, nous proposons le libellé suivant: la protection de l'environnement et la promotion de l'économie verte. Merci à la Russie. Y a-t-il des objections à cette proposition? Je ne vois pas d'objection. Ah, pardon, la Corée. Vous avez la parole. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Je ne suis pas sûr que l'on puisse retirer l'utilisation efficace des ressources parce que cela me semblait être un des éléments fondamentaux de notre discussion d'hier. Et j'aimerais donc que l'utilisation efficace des ressources demeure dans le texte. Je remercie la Corée. Je ne pense pas que l'amendement portait sur ce segment de phrase. Donc, je vais reprendre au début de la ligne. La protection de l'environnement en appliquant les principes de l'économie verte et l'utilisation efficace des ressources. En fait, la proposition serait la protection de l'environnement par le biais de la promotion de l'économie verte et de l'utilisation efficace des ressources. Si je ne me trompe, dit la présidente. Il n'y a pas d'objection à cet amendement? Adopté, donc. Je remercie la Russie. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Je respecte très fort votre cohérence et sur la base de vos instructions, j'aimerais faire une observation et proposer une autre modification dans ce paragraphe portant sur la ligne 6. En ligne 6, on lit actuellement nous suggérons que l'on remplace primordial par vital. Quelqu'un a-t-il des objections à cette proposition? La Russie propose donc que la ligne se dise la participation des différents acteurs était vitale pour la réalisation des objectifs de développement durable. La lecture actuelle nous donne primordial. On remplacerait primordial par vital dans le français ou en anglais key par vital. S'il n'y a pas d'objection, je suis prête à ce que l'on adopte ce texte. Y a-t-il d'autres commentaires et maintenant d'autres délégations? Russie. Je vous remercie beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. J'aimerais attirer votre attention à présent sur le texte figurant en page 4, paragraphe 20, donc 5 du texte français, qui se lit comme suit. Nous suggérons, dans le même esprit que dans le paragraphe antérieur, vis-à-vis de l'économie verte, donc que cette phrase soit transformée dans ce paragraphe également, et donc y compris entre autres la promotion de l'économie verte. Donc la promotion de l'économie verte. Point.
Do we have any objections to this proposal?
Y a-t-il des modifications ou des réactions à cette proposition? Il faut qu'elle lise.
Yes, Korea.
Oui, la Corée. Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je ne voulais pas intervenir, mais j'aimerais en premier lieu ajouter l'efficacité des ressources. Donc, ce que nous disons maintenant, c'est qu'il serait, qu'on soutiendrait un changement de paradigme collectif, mais assurant la promotion de l'économie verte et l'efficacité des ressources et l'utilisation efficace des ressources, pour utiliser la phrase précédente. Le Japon, vous avez la parole. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Je note que dans le paragraphe 17, déclaration a été faite par un certain nombre de membres, mais on n'y trouve pas la République de Corée. Si la République de Corée désire insister sur certains éléments, il aurait fallu qu'il fasse une déclaration à cet égard. Comme il n'y a pas de référence à l'utilisation efficace des ressources faite par l'une ou l'autre des délégations, dans ce débat, je pense que nous ne devrions pas procéder à la réécriture et dire des choses qui n'ont écrire des choses qui n'ont pas été dites. Ce rapport devrait s'en tenir à ce qui a été dit. La Corée, vous avez la parole. Merci, Madame la Présidente. Excusez-moi de reprendre la parole de manière répétitive. Un terme que j'ai entendu tout au long de la réunion d'hier et d'aujourd'hui, c'était l'utilisation efficace des ressources. Et je veux bien accepter que ça ne faisait pas partie de la déclaration spécifique des pays, paragraphe 10, comme on le voit au paragraphe 17, mais néanmoins cela a été un thème qui est réapparu sous forme de leitmotiv tout au long des discussions. Bien chers délégués, est-ce que nous pouvons aborder ces questions l'une après l'autre? La délégation russe avait proposé que cette phrase se lise comme suit. Promouvoir un changement de paradigme collectif par la promotion de l'économie verte, entre autres. Je relis. Promouvoir un changement de paradigme collectif visant à promouvoir l'économie verte. Donc, je crois que ceci est accepté, donc ceci est adopté. Et suite à cela, la Corée nous a demandé d'ajouter, après économie verte, et l'utilisation efficace des ressources. Avec une objection émanant du Japon. Japon, non, ça n'est pas une objection à la proposition. Donc, je ne m'oppose pas à la proposition qui a été faite par la République de Corée. J'aimerais simplement demander au secrétariat si l'utilisation efficace des ressources a été mentionnée au cours de cette session-là. Si c'est le cas, je n'ai pas d'objection. mais j'aimerais continuer à appeler à la prudence. Donc c'est le droit le plus strict de tous les membres du comité d'ajouter ce qu'ils pensent avoir entendu dans la discussion. Ma délégation ne s'y oppose pas, mais je soulevais une question de principe concernant le rapport entre ce qui a été dit et le texte que nous lisons et les modifications qu'on pourrait y apporter. Je vais maintenant donner la parole au secrétariat pour obtenir une explication de celui-ci. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Il est vrai que l'expression « utilisation efficace des ressources » a été mentionnée tout au long des discussions. Le secrétariat peut revenir vers les déclarations faites lors de ces sessions et vérifier que cette mention y figurait dedans. Donc je propose que l'on mette utilisation efficace des ressources entre crochets. Si nous pouvons confirmer que cela a figuré dans les déclarations, nous l'insérerons. Si cela ne figure pas dans les déclarations, ça ne serait pas un élément factuel et donc nous ne pourrons pas le maintenir dans le texte. Très bien. Est-ce que vous voulez intervenir sur la proposition du secrétariat? Je ne vois pas de demande d'intervention, donc la proposition est adoptée telle que formulée. Est-ce que les délégations ont des commentaires à formuler? Je remercie la Russie. Merci, Madame la Présidente. Notre délégation n'a vraiment pas l'intention de se porter en avant. Nous n'avons qu'une seule proposition portant sur une question spécifique. Dans la partie des conclusions, nous voyons au paragraphe 22, ligne 7, une situation similaire à la situation précédente. Lorsque l'on parle de l'économie verte, nous proposons donc que l'application des principes de l'économie verte, c'est ce qui se lit actuellement, et ce que nous suggérons, c'est que ce libellé soit remplacé par ce qui suit, dans lequel la promotion des principes ou des idées de l'économie verte, dans lequel la promotion de l'économie verte et du développement durable, etc. Et le reste du texte reste inchangé.
Okay, thank you, Russia.
Je remercie la Russie. Donc, ce que la Russie nous propose, c'est de lire le texte ainsi. Mise en garde contre un scénario dans lequel la promotion de l'économie verte, plutôt que l'application généralisée des principes de l'économie verte. Y a-t-il des objections à cette proposition d'amendement ou de modification du texte? Je ne vois pas de demande d'intervention. C'est donc adopté. Y a-t-il d'autres commentaires émanant des délégués?
J'ai jamais vu un rapport traité.
Okay, thank you, distinguished.
Eh bien, je remercie les délégués. Nous sommes arrivés à la fin de l'examen du rapport. Est-ce que des hauts responsables désirent à ce stade encore intervenir? Si ce n'est pas le cas, je propose que l'on considère que le rapport a été adopté avec les amendements qui ont été proposés et soit transmis au segment ministériel jeudi le 7 septembre sous le point 14B de l'agenda à noter. J'ai donc le plaisir de déclarer que le rapport a été adopté.
Distinguished delegates, I would like...
Chers délégués, j'aimerais répéter que si des corrections concernant les faits, les orthographes, les titres, etc., devaient être requises, vous êtes invités à contacter le secrétariat à la fin de la session. Je vais maintenant donner la parole pour les déclarations des pays et des parties prenantes sur le point 11, adoption du rapport par les hauts fonctionnaires de la 7e conférence ministérielle sur l'environnement et le développement dans la région Asie-Pacifique. Je donnerai d'abord la parole aux gouvernements membres et associés. Une fois que toutes les déclarations par pays ont été faites, je donnerai la parole aux organismes intergouvernementaux, puis aux représentants des organes des Nations Unies et agences spécialisées, et enfin aux représentants désignés de la société civile, groupes majeurs et autres parties prenantes. Je vais à présent donner la parole au gouvernement.
I see none. Thank you.
Il n'y a pas de demande de parole. Bien, merci. J'invite maintenant des représentants d'organes intergouvernementaux qui souhaiteraient demander la parole.
I see none.
Personne ne demande la parole. Les organes des Nations Unies, agences spécialisées, y a-t-il des demandes de parole de ce groupe?
I see none.
Ce n'est pas le cas. D'autres parties prenantes? Quelqu'un demanderait la parole?
We have the Center for Environment Concern.
Le Centre pour le Environment Concern, préoccupation face à l'environnement. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Je prends la parole au nom du Centre pour les préoccupations sur l'environnement des Philippines. Nous sommes heureux de voir que les voix de la société civile ont été entendues, en particulier pour la justice face à l'environnement. Mais nous sommes préoccupés par certains éléments, en particulier cette économie verte. Il faut mettre l'accent sur le fait que l'économie verte est généralement quelque chose qui affecte les ressources des populations locales. Il faut que nous ayons des interventions durables et écophiles, mais ceci ne permet pas de garantir l'accès équitable à tous. Et nous voulions que l'on se rende compte que les principes de l'économie verte ne sont pas uniquement la solution à la lutte contre la pollution. On veut attirer l'attention également sur les recommandations et la promotion des partenariats publics-privés. Ceci a été donné, mais sans consultation du public et trop souvent, c'est une poursuite des bénéfices des agents corrompus du gouvernement et du grand monde des affaires. Et on peut le voir à travers différents États et ce sont des infrastructures qui sont parfois mises en jeu. Il y a des développements commerciaux en milieu rural et urbain et ceci ne contribue pas au bien-être des gens, mais au déplacement de personnes, la destruction, la dégradation d'écosystèmes locaux et de la biodiversité. Nous voudrions également réitérer que la discussion et le rapport ne donnent pas sa part au rôle joué par les communautés locales en partenariat pour le développement et certains principes ne sont pas non plus reconnus, comme par exemple le processus de l'équité intergénérationnelle et ne reconnaît pas donc les autres sources de pollution, les modifications génétiques et les technologies à cet effet extractives, entre autres. Et on entend parler de technologie, mais pas de l'accès et de contrôle des personnes sur ces technologies et prendre en compte les savoirs ancestraux, les innovations. Là, nous souhaitons qu'il y ait une évaluation de disponibilité de ces technologies dans la région. Et enfin, nous demandons la justice et la participation inclusive de toutes les parties prenantes, en particulier les personnes à la base, les communautés marginalisées qui sont le plus affectées par la pollution et par la difficulté d'accès aux ressources dans leur vie au quotidien, qui sont exposées plus que les autres aux catastrophes, souffrent de pauvreté, d'extrême famine et qui sont souvent spoliées de leurs ressources. Merci. Je vous remercie pour la représentante du Centre pour les préoccupations face à l'environnement. Et je vois que nous n'avons pas d'autres orateurs sur la liste, donc je vais demander à notre maître de cérémonie de nous faire les communications qu'elle a à nous faire. Alors, je vous rappelle qu'il va y avoir l'initiative sur le géo-ingénierie de climat. Il y aura un dîner à cet effet et qui vous est offert et qui aura lieu après la fin de cette réunion aujourd'hui ou à partir de 5h30 dans la salle de réception qui se trouve au rez-de-chaussée. Vous êtes tous invités. Merci. Alors, ceci nous mène à la fin de nos travaux aujourd'hui. J'ai le plaisir de vous remercier pour avoir été actifs. Je remercie la Russie, l'Iran, la Corée, le Japon pour leur contribution et je aurai le plaisir de vous retrouver demain. Merci.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates.
Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs, ne quittez pas la salle, restez à vos places. Nous allons continuer à étudier le point 10 du jour. Adoption du document final du forum.
Jonathan just told me that the 50 copies from Meta gave me an old version.
Yeah, these are new ones.
These are new ones.
Yes.
Okay. So I should give her. Subato is over there. So we check her. I guess the cross. Everything okay? Sorry? Yeah. Come. Those are not there, don't. Which one? Okay. No, if it is adopted, it will go. Subrato, can I have a copy of the report? No, chair, sir. Marco.
Sorry, just. No, if you can just say hello, thank you. If you want to, if not, just. Just say it's an honor for me to be here. That's it. Does he want to?
Yeah, you want to say a few words.
I don't think I have the time with it.
Okay, maybe I will do something.
Maybe at 1 a.m.
I will do something. Anyone is coming? Stand there in the middle. Anyone coming? Yeah.
Yes. Just wondering, do we have an outlet? No. Everything's taken.
No, I got a call. He doesn't come. And then presiding officer will tell them because of planting priority. He has to go, but thank you very much for your encouragement. That's all they want. It's just a second. There's an instruction to them. Because when presiding officers will be inviting the chair, right? Yes.
presiding officers. Yeah, but that was before the new. No, all the seniors. So the chair will remember. Only morning. He said, I told Kaveh, I told him on the phone, that this is my 15 minutes is out. And presiding officer is going. And then Kaveh said, Lord, the one I was saying, so, yeah, then the electric chair. Yeah. That's chair.
The unit report? Yeah. Is it already out? Can I read the report? Because they're discussing.
You give me again, so then I send it. I'll write it down. Yeah, and then I send it
Delegation. Okay.
Yeah. Send it forward.
It's okay.
Yeah. Just I give it to Stephen. Oh, okay. I'll give it. Can I just see it? How long is it? No, not very long. Just capture. They're very good at it. So there's a lot of statements. Full of statements. Yeah. Still, no, still. Little early. Still it's gone. It was going. Then fine. There's a lot of statements. But we covered it. 100% statement. Civil president was the right statement. Espresso. Yeah. That's correct. No, this one says 6 September. It says 6 September here. 16.
Yeah.
You have given everyone? You have given the civil society? Yeah. You have given the civil society? Civil society. But this is just yeah. You have to correct.
That one.
No, I will check. But it's not.
Because here we have
Well, cheers.
so we know afterwards when they discuss it, we know what they are referring to.
Today is just this gentleman, right? There's a delegation from DPR.
Yes, correct.
She was here.
The lady, she
Just
was
alone?
here. I'm not sure. I saw her in the morning.
Okay. I think she'd be.
Here,
Yeah.
the corner.
I think she'd be. Who do you know who the liaison officer is for her?
Yeah.
I don't know how long. would just ask if you're okay with half 5 minutes for a quick interview regarding their architecture decision on pollution and just sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
Very generic, simple question, nothing sensitive.
Yeah, if I see at level of presentation. Are you going back to the office? He's at the office.
Could be, but I just get to know. Because now is the time that is this ending, by the way, or is there another session?
This is a break.
This is the break?
Yes, in the West End.
Okay.
Your Excellencies, I think we better start before we lose some of our members. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we are now resuming with the consideration of Agenda Item 10. I believe we have dealt with Agenda Item 11 just then. The report, a draft senior officials meeting report, has been circulated. And shortly we will be asking for your endorsement. We'll give you a minute to go through it quickly.
Copy, you should stand behind. Anyone is coming like Pakistan is coming. Okay, you should go behind. Anyone coming, you give the copy. Just give it. Can you go and give it to Pakistan? Yes. Now we're not changing agenda item. So give it to Pakistan. That's it. Fine. You keep it, if somebody is asking, just keep and watch. Yes, okay. We don't have any changes now. This is the last item, so no problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a living document, so we'll improve on it as we move on. But let me invite senior officials, if you have any comment, observation, remarks on the report, other than the date on top of right-hand corner that the Secretariat will correct. Are there any remarks? I invite Japan to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Japan has 2 comments on the report. First, the page 8, agenda item 8A, Japan's comment has not been reflected in the report, and we'd like to ask the Secretariat to include Japan's comment as follows. Japan requested necessary revision in paragraph 15, section 1 and 2, in order to ensure that countries are able to set on air quality guidelines and standards using WHO air quality guidelines as reference. And second, on the page 11, the paragraph 28, second bullet read as follows. Some noted the declaration was intensive to agree on, and Japan would like to propose to add, rather than chair's summary, after the word declaration. Thank you, Chair.
We have taken note of that. Secretariat will make necessary amendments. May I invite China?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 procedures issues. One is with regard to the agenda item with the agenda item 8B, the draft resolutions. My delegation noticed that there are several draft resolutions listed here, and we have seen some of them, but there might be something we didn't see. Yes, we have seen, we have saw that the draft resolution on marine litter proposed by Norway. We also saw that draft resolution on eliminating exposed to lead paints. But we didn't see anything on that concept note on resolution on environment and health nexus. And also, we didn't see draft resolution to improve air quality in cities. I would like to get the clarification from Secretariat. This is one.
Thank you, China. Secretary will have a look into that and make appropriate.
If you allow me, Mr. Chair, I'd like to continue.
To comment at this stage.
So, Excellency Chair, with your permission, the document that we have uploaded in the Asia Pacific website, there are 4 resolutions that was circulated, that was submitted to our headquarters in the Secretariat, and they have circulated to all the member states those 4 resolutions that they received. And we just compiled those, and also we submitted 6 weeks prior all the 4 resolutions, and the 5th one has come 3-4 days before. That was also circulated to all the member states. So all the 4 resolutions we are talking about in the report, that was circulated to all the member states some time back, and by our secretariat in Nairobi to all the member states, and we just compiled it, and we also uploaded it in our ministerial website 6 weeks prior to the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saprata. China, would you like to?
Yes, I would like to check internally with my colleagues. Second issue is about the agenda item 9. It's about the institutional arrangement for the Forum of Ministers and the Environmental Authorities for Asia Pacific. According to our agenda procedures, we hope that it will be something on the agenda, introduction by the Secretariat. But in fact, there's no explanations from the Secretariat. And the chair asked for comments. So it was so in a rush that my delegation didn't have opportunities to express our concerns. So I just want to point out this fact. Thank you.
Noted. Any further comment from the floor? China, third opportunity.
Actually, our concerns or our statement is ready. If possible, we'd like to prepare for the Secretariat. This is the procedures issue. If you allow me, I would like to also mention one amendment to the text of the draft report.
Yes, please refer to which page and paragraph, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's in paragraph, in page 11, agenda item 8, paragraph 28. The sub-paragraph, the first sub-paragraph. Some common environmental and development policy principles, the original text could be included in such as those related to. My suggestion is to replace the word could by should. Thank you.
Secretariat has no problem with that, honorable member from China. Thank you for that. Noted. Any further comment from the floor from our senior officials?
Yeah,
Singapore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just looking at the report. Paragraph 27 contains something that Singapore said, but I don't recall saying it under the draft resolution to improve air quality in cities. And this is referring to the sentence, paragraph 27, line 6. The transboundary nature of air pollution calls for a coordinated approach by governments. I think this is lifted from what I said, but I did not mean it to come under this resolution. And the other one is I mentioned something along that lines too for the draft declaration, but it's not included in paragraph 28.
We'll have a look at that, Singapore, but thank you for raising those issues. Any last comment? Colleague from Tonga. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment is just to, it's not a comment, it's a request to, on the overview one, that meeting was attended by countries list, that my country is not listed on the name of the countries. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Tonga. Apology, we overlooked that, and Secretariat will include Tonga in the report. We invite the Republic of Korea to comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have just minor suggestion to correct to streamline the paragraph. It is on paragraph 28 on page 11. Under the chapeau text, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's regarding my intervention is regarding sixth paragraph, sixth split, and seventh split, both talking about the first paragraph of the draft declaration. And my suggestion, although I mentioned the paragraph, the bullet point, the sixth bullet point there, my suggestion is to add the sixth and seventh bullet points together, since they are talking about first paragraph only. I'll leave it to the Secretariat to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Korea will make necessary adjustments. Any further comment? May I have the permission to endorse the draft meeting report for the senior officials meeting? With the comment incorporated? Accordingly, we will submit the senior official report together with the chair's summary for adoption by the ministers under the agenda item 16. Okay. Iran, any final?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just on page 5, paragraph 15, on strengthening the environmental cooperation, although it says in the one line before the last, among others, but I think the issue of cooperation for water and water pollution was also mentioned. I would suggest that the issue of water and water pollution is also to be included, as it is very appropriately addressed. Thank you very much.
Making a note of that, and Secretariat will include it as they finalize our report. And with that, it has been a very, very long day. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge with sincere appreciation your participation and your excellent cooperation and fruitful deliberation for today. I believe, despite being a long day, it has been a very successful and productive session, has been interactive and participatory. Let me thank all the speakers that have presented for us today and have shared your technical expertise and experiences with us. Let me also acknowledge and thank all the head of delegations and officials for your intervention, your country statement, our civil society, special acknowledgement of our civil society and your constructive input to our meeting today. I have seen your report, which will be tabled in ministerial meeting coming up in the next 2 days, and will be on its way, hopefully, to UNEA. Let me also thank the two vice chairs for today. I thank Dr. Suprata and the Secretariat for all your secretarial support and all the other support staff that we have here. I thank you very much for all your contribution to today's deliberation. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to officially close the senior official segment of the Second Forum of Ministers and Environment Authority of Asia Pacific and invite our MC to make any final announcement. Having no further announcement, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
We just finished the meeting, by the way. Yes, yes, finished. It's okay. I will have a look. Okay, now let me see if I can find it on that. Oh, okay. I will have a look. If there are still things there, I will bring them back to the office.
Let's give me a call after manager draw.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Struggling but managing.
Yeah, and Subrata looking forward to have the revision of the draft because there's so many significant, especially the one procedures issue raised by the
China.
And the suggestion by
That's right.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. When we do,
And Tonga was missing from the list.
yeah, it's your neighbor.
Blaming.
Yeah, of course, you're the chair and you're from there.
The drafted report that I updated. I received it. Oh, finished. Will you come tomorrow?
Sorry?
Will you come tomorrow?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Will you?
Yeah, of course. See you tomorrow.
But it's not, you're not anyway.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
It's the afternoon.
Yes. You will be here until Friday? Friday?
Yes.
Ah, okay. See you.
See you.
I have no idea. That one I bring so you got to recycle. Cannot live. This.